The morning sun reflected off the massive hull of the UESC Goliath as it sat in the orbital shipyard above Earth. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the observation deck, staring at his new command. The ship was enormous, 4.2 kilometers from bow to stern. It was the largest vessel humanity had ever built. "She's beautiful, isn't she?" Commander Lisa Grant walked up beside him. Her reflection appeared in the glass next to his. Jake nodded slowly. "Beautiful and terrifying. Look at the size of those main guns." The Goliath bristled with weapons. Rail cannons lined the sides, missile batteries covered every angle, point defense turrets sat in clusters across the hull. It looked like a warship because it was one. But that wasn't why they built it. "We've been alone for 200 years, Lisa said quietly. "Maybe we'll finally find someone out there." Jake turned to face her. "And if we do? What will they think when they see this monster rolling up to say hello?" Lisa smiled a little. "Then we better make sure we smile real big." Behind them, the door opened. Lieutenant Ben Carter rushed in, his face excited. "Captain, Admiral Stone wants to see you in the briefing room. Launch clearance just came through." The briefing room was packed with officers. Admiral Richard Stone stood at the head of the table, his silver hair marking his 40 years of service. Maps of unexplored space filled the screens behind him. "Ladies and gentlemen," Stone began, "today we make history. The Goliath will be the first Titan-class warship to leave our solar system. Your mission is exploration. The Perseus arm has shown unusual energy readings. We want to know what's out there." Dr. Helen Brooks, the chief science officer, raised her hand. "Admiral, what if we encounter hostile forces? The ship is armed for full-scale war." Stone's expression hardened. "Then you defend yourselves. But remember, we built the Goliath because we don't know what's waiting in deep space. After 2 centuries of finding dead worlds and ancient ruins, we had to prepare for anything. Better to have the weapons and not need them." Jake understood the logic. Humanity had spread across dozens of star systems. They found evidence of old civilizations everywhere. Cities turned to dust, technology rusted and broken, but never any living aliens. The silence was frightening. Something had killed them all. Humanity needed to be ready if that something came back. "Your crew is 8,000 strong," Stone continued. "The best we have. You carry enough supplies for 5 years. Your armor can withstand nuclear strikes. Your shields can handle sustained fire from an entire fleet. If there's anyone out there, you'll be ready." The briefing lasted another hour. They covered navigation routes, communication protocols, and emergency procedures. When it ended, Jake made his way to the shuttle that would take him to the Goliath. The ship's interior was like a city. Wide corridors stretched for hundreds of meters. The crew quarters could house a small town. The engineering section was 5 decks tall. Jake walked through the main hall and saw gardens growing under artificial sunlight. They even had a park. "Captain on deck!" someone shouted as Jake entered the bridge. The bridge was circular and massive. 20 stations surrounded the command chair in the center. Screens covered every wall, showing views from cameras all over the hull. Jake sat down in his chair. It felt right. "Status report," he ordered. "All systems green," Lisa reported from the tactical station. "Weapons locked and secured. Shields at standby power." "Engineering reports ready," called out the voice of the chief engineer over the comm. "Reactors running smooth. FTL drive is charged." "Navigation plotted and confirmed," said the helmsman. Ben looked back from the weapons console, grinning like a kid with a new toy. "Point defense grid online. Railguns loaded, missiles armed. We're good to go, sir." Jake took a deep breath. "Open a channel to Earth." Admiral Stone's face appeared on the main screen. "The floor is yours." "Captain, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the UESC Goliath. We stand ready to launch. Our mission is to explore the unknown and search for life among the stars. Whatever we find out there, we'll face it together, for Earth and humanity." "Good luck, Goliath," Stone said. "Make us proud." The connection ended. Jake looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They were nervous, excited, ready. "Take us out," Jake ordered. "Nice and slow." The Goliath moved forward. The massive ship pulled away from the dock with surprising grace for something so large. Earth fell away behind them. The moon passed on their left. Mars glowed red in the distance. "Approaching jump point," the helmsman announced. "All hands, prepare for FTL jump," Lisa's voice echoed through the ship. Jake gripped the arms of his chair. "Engage!" The stars stretched. Space twisted. Reality bent around them. Then the Goliath leaped forward, crossing light years in seconds. They emerged in deep space, far from Earth, surrounded by stars that no human had ever seen up close. "Jump successful," Lisa reported. "All systems normal, no damage." "Set course for the Perseus arm," Jake ordered. "Standard cruise speed. Keep sensors at maximum range. If there's anything out there, I want to know about it." The Goliath turned and began its journey into the unknown. Its powerful engines pushed the massive vessel forward through the darkness between stars. Somewhere out there, answers waited. Questions that humanity had asked for 2 centuries might finally get answered. Jake settled into his command chair for the long voyage ahead. They were alone now. Just 8,000 humans on a ship built for war, hoping to find friends instead of enemies. The weeks turned into months. The crew fell into routines. They trained. They studied. They waited. Space remained empty and quiet. But Jake knew that wouldn't last forever. On the 183rd day of their journey, everything changed. Lieutenant Amy Jang sat at the communication station, running routine scans. She had done this scan 1,000 times before. She expected nothing, but this time her screen lit up with readings she had never seen. "Captain," Amy said, her voice shaking slightly. "I'm picking up a signal. It's artificial. Someone's out there." Jake was out of his chair in seconds. "Are you sure?" Amy's fingers flew across her console. "Positive, sir. The pattern is too regular to be natural. It's repeating every 47 seconds. Someone is broadcasting." The bridge fell silent. After 6 months of empty space, they had finally found it. Proof that humanity was not alone. "Can you locate the source?" Lisa asked, moving to stand behind Amy's station. "Working on it now?" Amy replied. "Got it. The signal is coming from a star system 3 light years ahead. There's a gas giant in that system. The signal originates near it." Jake felt his heart pounding. This was the moment humanity had waited for. First contact. "Helm, change course. Take us there. Drop to half speed as we approach." "Yes, sir." Helen arrived on the bridge, still putting on her uniform jacket. "I heard the alert. Is it true?" "We're about to find out," Jake said. "How long until we reach them?" "At current speed, 6 hours," the helmsman answered. Those 6 hours felt like days. The crew prepared. Amy worked with Helen to create basic communication protocols, mathematics, physics, universal constants, things any intelligent species would understand. Ben ran weapons checks, though Jake had ordered him to keep everything offline. Lisa reviewed first contact procedures that had been written decades ago, but never used. "Approaching the system," the helmsman announced, dropping to sublight speeds. "All stop," Jake ordered. "Full sensor sweep." The main screen changed to show what their sensors detected. A large orange gas giant filled the center, and around it, 7 ships. They were small. The largest was maybe 400 meters long. Their designs were strange. Curved hulls, unusual proportions, nothing like human engineering, but they were clearly ships. And they were moving. "They've detected us," Lisa said, watching her tactical display. "All 7 vessels are changing course. They're forming a defensive formation. They're scared, Helen observed. Look at the pattern. They're putting themselves between us and the gas giant. They think we're a threat. Jake understood why. The Goliath was 10 times larger than their biggest ship. Amy, start broadcasting our greeting. Use the protocols we prepared. Broadcasting now, sir. Minutes passed. The alien ships held their position. Then Amy's console lit up. We're getting a response. They're sending mathematical sequences back. It's working, Captain. We're communicating. Over the next hour, they exchanged basic information. Numbers, chemical elements, pictures. Slowly, a simple language formed. The aliens called themselves the Valara. They were part of something called the Coalition. 3 species working together. They had been exploring space for 3,000 years. 3,000 years, Helen whispered. They're so much older than us. But something was wrong. The Valara messages became more urgent, more demanding. Amy struggled to translate the basic concepts they were sending. Captain, I think they're telling us to leave, Amy said. The words aren't clear, but the tone is. They're not happy we're here. Ask them why, Jake said. We came in peace. Make that clear. More messages exchanged. Then Amy went pale. Sir, they're asking about our ship. They want to know why we brought a... I think the word translates to world killer into their space. World killer? Ben said from his station. The Goliath? They think we're here to attack them, Lisa said grimly. Look at the size difference. We probably look like a floating death machine to them. Jake stood up. Amy, tell them we're explorers, scientists. We mean no harm. The ship is for defense only. Amy sent the message. The response came back quickly. She read it and frowned. They say that ships this large are only built for war. They're demanding we power down our weapons and allow their fleet to escort us to their nearest station. Not happening, Ben said immediately. We don't know them. They could be planning an ambush. But if we refuse, they'll think we're hostile, Helen countered. Jake thought fast. This was going bad quickly. Amy, tell them we'll keep our weapons offline, but we won't power them down completely. That's standard procedure for us. Tell them we'll allow one of their ships to come close for better communication. The message was sent. They waited. The Valara ships didn't move. Then the sensors picked up something new. Captain, Lisa said urgently, multiple FTL signatures. More ships are arriving. Space rippled. 1 ship appeared. Then 5 more. Then 20. Within minutes, 60 Valara vessels surrounded the Goliath in a wide sphere. Every single one had their weapons pointed at the human ship. They brought their whole fleet, Ben said quietly. Jake's mind raced. This was exactly what he had feared. First contact was turning into a standoff. Broadcast on all frequencies. Tell them we don't want to fight. We came looking for friends, not enemies. I'm trying, sir, Amy said, her voice stressed, but they keep sending the same message. Power down or face consequences. Their fleet commander is hailing us, Lisa reported. Audio and visual this time. They've figured out our communication systems. Put it on screen. The main display changed. An alien face appeared. It was reptilian, with golden scales and 3 eyes. Its mouth moved, and a translator device on its chest converted the sounds to something close to English. I am Kethvar, commander of the Valara Defense Fleet. You have entered Coalition space in a warship that violates all treaties. Power down your weapons immediately, or we will consider you hostile. Jake stepped forward. I am Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth vessel Goliath. We are explorers from a distant system. We didn't know we were entering your space. We mean you no harm. Kethvar's 3 eyes narrowed. You bring a ship designed to destroy planets and claim peace? We are not fools, human. Ships this size are banned by galactic law. The last time vessels like yours flew through space, billions died. We didn't know, Jake said firmly. We built this ship because we've been alone. We found ruins of dead civilizations across our region of space. We built the Goliath to protect us from whatever killed them." "You found the ruins?" Kethvar seemed surprised. "Then you are from the dead zone. We thought nothing lived there anymore." "We do," Jake said, "and we're not your enemy. Give us a chance to prove it." Kethvar was quiet for a long moment. The alien commander looked at something off-screen, then back at Jake. "Very well. You will remain where you are. Do not move. Do not power weapons. We will discuss this with our council. But know this, human. If you make any hostile action, my fleet will respond, though I suspect even our combined firepower would do little against your ship." The transmission ended. Lisa looked at Jake. "Did he just admit they can't hurt us?" "They're terrified," Helen said softly. "We showed up in their space with a ship that could probably destroy their entire fleet. From their perspective, we're monsters." Jake sat back down heavily. "Then we need to show them they're wrong. Stand down from alert status, but keep shields up. We wait, and we hope they're willing to listen." The Goliath hung in space, surrounded by 60 alien warships. Humanity's first contact with alien life had become a tense standoff, and Jake knew that one wrong move could start a war. 2 hours passed. The Goliath remained motionless while the Valara fleet maintained their defensive sphere. Jake sat in his command chair watching the tactical display. 60 ships, all watching them, all ready to fire. "Captain, incoming transmission from Kethvar," Amy announced. "Put him through." The Valara commander appeared on screen again. His 3 eyes looked tired. "Captain Morrison, I have spoken with my superiors. The Coalition Council is convening an emergency session. They want to speak with you directly. But first, you must understand something." "I'm listening," Jake said. Kethvar gestured off-screen, and a holographic image appeared next to him. It showed a massive ship, even larger than the Goliath, firing beams of light at a planet. The planet's surface burned, cities melted, oceans boiled away. "This was 5,000 years ago," Kethvar explained. "The War of the Titans. Ancient civilizations built ships like yours. They used them to conquer, to destroy. Entire species were wiped out. Worlds burned. When the war finally ended, the survivors made a law. No ship larger than 1 kilometer could ever be built again. Those that existed were destroyed. For 5,000 years, we have kept this peace." Jake felt cold. "We didn't know. Our records show nothing about this war. The ruins we found were already millions of years old." "You come from the dead zone," Kethvar said. "Beyond the barrier, we thought nothing could survive there. The space is filled with radiation and dark matter storms. How did your people endure?" "We adapted," Jake replied. "Earth is in a calm region." "We didn't even know the storms existed until we started exploring further out." Helen leaned forward. "Commander Kethvar, how advanced are your weapons?" The alien commander seemed puzzled by the question. "We use plasma cannons and fusion missiles. Standard technology. Why do you ask?" Helen looked at Jake, then at Lisa. The tactical officer pulled up data on her screen and studied it. Her eyes widened. "Captain," Lisa said quietly, "I've been analyzing their weapon signatures. Their most powerful guns are rated at about 20 terawatts. Our shields can absorb 100 times that before they even start to strain." Ben turned in his seat. "Are you saying their entire fleet couldn't scratch us?" "Not even close," Lisa confirmed. "And our armor is layered composite metal with self-repair systems. Even if the shields failed, their plasma wouldn't get through." Jake closed his eyes for a moment. The situation was worse than he thought. The Valara weren't just scared. They were helpless. If humans wanted to, they could destroy this fleet without taking damage. "Commander Kethvar," Jake said carefully, "I want to be honest with you. We've analyzed your weapons. We know you can't harm this ship. But we're not going to use that advantage. We came here as friends. That hasn't changed. Kethavar's scales seemed to pale. You know we're helpless, yet you remain peaceful. Why? Because destroying you would make us the monsters you fear, Jake answered. We're better than that. Before Kethavar could respond, alarms blared on the bridge. Weapons lock! Lisa shouted. Multiple targeting systems have locked onto us. The Velara! Jake demanded. Yes, sir. All 60 ships. Their targeting computers just went active. On the screen, Kethavar looked shocked. That wasn't my order. My ships are on defensive protocol only. Then who ordered it? Jake asked. Automated defense systems, Kethavar said urgently. When you admitted you know we can't hurt you, the threat level increased. The computers are programmed to respond to superior forces. I'm trying to override it now. Captain, our systems are responding automatically, Ben reported. Point defense grid is activating. I'm trying to shut it down. Do it fast, Jake ordered. We can't let this spiral. But it was too late. The Goliath's defensive systems detected the weapons locks. Thousands of small turrets across the hull powered up in response. They didn't fire, but they tracked every Velara ship with perfect precision. Their fleet is panicking, Lisa said, watching her display. Half of them are breaking formation. They're trying to fall back. Tell them we're not attacking, Jake ordered Amy. I'm broadcasting, but I don't think they're listening anymore. Then one of the Velara ships, a smaller escort vessel, fired. A bright blue plasma bolt shot across space and hit the Goliath's forward shields. The bolt splashed against the barrier like water against a wall. The shields didn't even flicker. The bridge went silent. Everyone stared at the tactical display. Damage report, Jake said quietly. None, Lisa replied. Shields absorbed the hit at 0.002% capacity. We didn't even feel it. Jake made his decision. Ben, do not return fire. That's an order. Helm, back us away slowly. Nice and easy. Amy, keep broadcasting that we're not hostile. Sir, Ben protested. They fired on us. One scared captain made a mistake, Jake said. We're not going to kill him for it. Move us back. Now. The Goliath began reversing, putting distance between itself and the Velara fleet. The huge ship moved with surprising grace. The Velara ships didn't follow. They seemed frozen in shock. Captain, Kethavar is hailing again, Amy said. The Velara commander looked shaken. You didn't fire back. One of my ships attacked you, and you didn't destroy them. We came in peace, Jake repeated. One mistake doesn't change that. Your ship barely registered the hit, Kethavar said. Our sensors showed the impact. Your shields, they didn't even react. How powerful are you? Jake glanced at Lisa. She nodded. It was time to be fully honest. Commander, would you like a demonstration? Something to help you understand what we're capable of? Kethavar's 3 eyes studied Jake carefully. Yes. I think the Council needs to see what we're dealing with. Ben, Jake ordered, activate point defense grid, full spread, show them the coverage. Ben worked his console. Across the Goliath's hull, every defensive turret activated. There were thousands of them. They moved in perfect synchronization, tracking imaginary targets in a complex dance. Those turrets can hit targets moving at relativistic speeds, Jake explained. They track anything within 50,000 kilometers. Missiles, fighters, debris, anything. Nothing gets through. Several Velara ships tried to move around the Goliath, testing the defenses. The turrets followed them effortlessly, always locked on. Now watch this, Jake said. Ben, select that asteroid, the one at bearing 270. Locked, sir. Fire 1 railgun, single shot, 50% power. A single cannon on the Goliath's port side rotated. There was a flash. The asteroid, 40 kilometers away and roughly 200 meters across, simply ceased to exist. The metal slug hit it at 30% light speed. The kinetic energy turned rock into vapor in an instant. The Velara fleet recoiled, pulling back several thousand kilometers. That was half power, Jake said softly. We have 48 of those cannons, plus missiles that can hit targets across a solar system, plus energy weapons you haven't even seen yet. Kethvar said nothing for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet. You could destroy my entire fleet in seconds. Yes, Jake admitted. But we won't. That's what I need you to understand. We have this power, and we're choosing not to use it. Why did you build such a ship? Kethvar asked. Fear, Jake answered honestly. We were alone for so long. We found dead worlds everywhere. We thought something terrible was out there. We built the Goliath to survive it. And now you've found us, Kethvar said, and we're terrified of you. I know, Jake said, and I'm sorry for that. We never meant to scare anyone. We just wanted to find someone else in the universe. Kethvar looked away, speaking to someone off-screen. Then he looked back at Jake. The Council has seen your demonstration. They want to speak with you. They're broadcasting across all coalition channels. By now, every government in 12 star systems knows about you. Some are calling for unity against the human threat. Others are less certain. What do you think? Jake asked. The Valara commander's expression was hard to read on his alien face, but his voice carried something that might have been respect. I think you had chances to destroy us and didn't. That means something. Come to the station. We'll talk. But Captain Morrison, know this. The galaxy is watching. What happens next will determine if humans are welcomed as friends or feared as conquerors. The transmission ended. Jake looked around his bridge at his crew. They had come looking for friends. Instead, they had become the galaxy's worst fear. The Goliath moved slowly toward the Valara station. It was a massive ring-shaped structure orbiting the gas giant. But even this impressive station looked small compared to the human warship. 6 Valara escort vessels flew alongside, keeping careful distance. Approaching the station now, the helmsman reported. They're directing us to holding position 300 kilometers out. All stop, Jake ordered. Maintain position. Lisa checked her tactical display. I'm counting 147 ships around that station now. More are arriving every hour. Word is spreading fast. Can't blame them, Ben said from the weapons station. If I heard a ship like ours showed up, I'd want to see it too. Helen was studying the data they'd gathered on Valara technology. Captain, I've been reviewing their specifications. Their fastest ships can barely reach half the speed of light. Our FTL drive is at least 30 times faster than theirs. They've had 3,000 years of space travel, but they've been cautious. They built small. They built slow. While we built fast and big in just 200 years, Jake said. No wonder they're scared. We must seem reckless to them. Sir, incoming transmission, Amy announced. Multiple sources. It's a holographic conference. 12 different locations. The Council, Jake realized, put it through. Full display. The bridge's main screen split into 12 sections. Each showed a different alien species. Some were reptilian, like Kethvar. Others were insect-like. One looked almost like a bird. Another seemed to be made of liquid metal in a containment suit. All of them stared at Jake with expressions that ranged from fear to curiosity to anger. A being with silver skin and 4 arms spoke first. Its voice was translated to English through their systems. I am Counselor Vrex of the United Worlds. We speak for the Coalition. Captain Morrison, you have caused quite a disturbance. That wasn't our intention, Jake said, standing at attention. We came seeking peaceful contact. In a warship, another counselor, the bird-like one, said sharply. A vessel that violates every law and treaty we have established. You claim ignorance, but ignorance is no excuse. We couldn't know laws we'd never heard of, Jake replied calmly. Our space was empty. We developed alone. The Goliath was built for defense against unknown threats, not for conquest. A counselor that looked like living crystal spoke next. Defense? That ship could destroy this entire station. It could burn worlds. How do we know you won't? Because we haven't, Jake said simply. Your fleet fired on us. We had every right to respond with overwhelming force. Instead, we moved away and asked to talk. Doesn't that tell you something about our intentions? It tells us you're smart, Vrex said. You know that if you attacked, the entire galaxy would unite against you. You're being strategic, not peaceful. Jake felt frustration building. They didn't want to listen. They'd already decided humans were a threat. He needed to change their minds. Commander Kethavar, Jake said, would you join this conversation? The Valara commander's image appeared in a smaller window. I'm here, Captain. Tell them what you've observed, your honest assessment. Kethvar looked at the council members. The human ship is beyond anything we can fight. I've analyzed their technology. Their shields could withstand bombardment from every ship in the coalition for days without failing. Their weapons could destroy our largest battleships with single shots. If they wanted to conquer us, we couldn't stop them. Then we're doomed, the bird-like counselor said. I wasn't finished, Kethvar continued. But they don't want conquest. When my ship accidentally fired on them, their captain immediately pulled back. He showed restraint. When I asked for a demonstration of power, he showed just enough to make his point clear, then stopped. Captain Morrison has had multiple opportunities to demonstrate aggression. Each time he chose peace. Or he's waiting for the right moment, Vrex argued. Jake had had enough of the debate. Counselors, I'd like to invite representatives from your station aboard the Goliath. Let you see for yourselves what we are. Tour the ship, meet the crew. Judge us by our actions, not your fears. The council members talked among themselves, their images occasionally muting as they discussed. Finally, Vrex spoke. Very well. We will send a delegation. But understand this, Captain. If any harm comes to them, it will mean war. Every species, every fleet, every weapon we have will be turned against you. They'll be perfectly safe, Jake promised. I'll have Commander Lisa Grant escort them personally. The transmission ended. Jake turned to Lisa. Get a diplomatic team ready. Show them the ship, but be smart about it. Let them see our crew quarters, our gardens, our schools. Show them we're people, not monsters. Understood, Lisa said. An hour later, a small shuttle approached the Goliath. It docked at one of the forward airlocks. Lisa met the delegation there with a security detail of 4 Marines. They weren't armed. That was intentional. The airlock opened. 5 aliens stepped through. Kethvar was among them, along with a Valara scientist, one of the silver-skinned beings, a creature that looked like a walking plant, and a small being covered in blue fur. They stopped and stared. The corridor they stood in was 50 meters wide and 300 meters long. Crew members walked past, going about their duties. Nobody paid the aliens much attention. It was just another day aboard the Goliath. This is one corridor, the silver-skinned alien whispered. Just one. How big is this ship? 4.2 kilometers, Lisa answered. Would you like to see more? She led them through the ship. They visited the crew quarters, where families lived in apartment-style rooms. They saw the gardens where food was grown under artificial sunlight. They watched children attending school in a classroom that could hold 200 students. You have children here? The blue-furred alien asked, surprised. On a warship? It's not just a warship, Lisa explained. It's a colony vessel, a city, a home. When we left Earth, we didn't know how long we'd be gone. Some of the crew brought their families. We have 8,000 people aboard. Scientists, engineers, teachers, doctors, families. The Valara scientist studied everything with fascination. This changes things. This isn't a military vessel. It's a civilization ship. Both, Lisa admitted. We're armed because we had to be. But we're so much more than weapons. She took them to the observation deck. The viewing window stretched across an entire wall, showing space outside. The Valara station hung in the distance, looking small and fragile. "From up here," Kethvar said quietly, "I can see my entire fleet around your ship. We look like insects surrounding a giant." "We didn't mean to make you feel small," Lisa said. "Honestly, we're just as scared as you are. For 200 years, we wondered if we were alone, if we'd ever find anyone else. Now we have, and we're terrified we'll mess it up." The plant-like alien moved closer to the window. "Your people developed so quickly. 200 years from first spaceflight to this. It took us 2,000 to build our first long-range vessel." "We had to," Lisa said. "Earth's history is full of conflict. Wars pushed our technology forward faster than we wanted. When we finally united and went to space, we carried that knowledge with us. Building big and strong is what we do. It's all we know." "So you're warriors," the silver-skinned alien said. "We were," Lisa corrected. "But we're trying to be more than that. We built the Goliath because we were afraid of what we might find out here. Ancient ruins everywhere. Dead civilizations. We thought something terrible destroyed them. We wanted to be ready. We never considered that we'd be the terrible thing others feared." The delegation was quiet for a moment. Then Kethvar spoke. "I will tell the council what I've seen here. This isn't a conquest fleet. It's a scared group of people who built too big because they didn't know better." "Will it be enough?" Lisa asked. "I don't know," Kethvar admitted. "But it's a start." Back on the bridge, Jake received a priority transmission from Earth. Admiral Stone's face appeared on screen, his expression serious. "Captain, we've been monitoring your situation. The Joint Chiefs are concerned. They want to know if we should send reinforcements." "Negative, Admiral," Jake said firmly. "That would make things worse. Right now, we're one ship, one mistake. If more showed up, they'd think it was an invasion." "Understood. But Jake, you need to know something. The Council's broadcast has reached Earth. The politicians are getting nervous. Some want to build more Titan-class ships. Others want to recall the Goliath. There's talk of preparing for war." "Tell them to do nothing," Jake urged. "Give me time. I think I can make this work." "You have 72 hours, Stone said. "After that, the decision goes above my head. Good luck, Captain." The transmission ended. Jake looked at the tactical display showing all the alien ships surrounding them. 72 hours to convince an entire galaxy that humanity deserved a chance. The clock was ticking. The delegation returned to the station 6 hours later. Jake watched their shuttle depart, wondering if the tour had helped or hurt their chances. Lisa stood beside him on the bridge, looking tired but hopeful. "They seemed impressed," she said, "especially when they met the families. I think seeing our children aboard made us seem more real to them." "Or more dangerous," Ben said from his station. "Now they know we reproduce and travel together. We could colonize anywhere." Jake didn't respond. His mind was on the message from Earth. 72 hours. After that, politicians would make decisions that could start a war. He needed to act fast. "Amy, open a channel to the Council. All frequencies. I want everyone to hear this." "Channel open, sir. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the UESC Goliath. I request an immediate hearing with the Coalition Council. I have a proposal that could resolve this situation peacefully." The response came within minutes. Counselor Vrex appeared on screen. "We were about to contact you, Captain. The delegation has made their report. The Council is ready to hear you speak. But know that this may be your only chance. We suggest you choose your words carefully." "Understood. How do we do this?" "We're setting up a holographic link. You'll appear before the full Council. Representatives from all 12 coalition species will be present. Your words will be broadcast across our networks. Millions will be watching." Jake felt the weight of that statement. This wasn't just about him anymore. This was about humanity's entire future in the galaxy. "I'm ready," he said. The bridge lights dimmed. A holographic field formed around Jake, capturing his image to send to the Council. On the main screen, he saw the Council chamber. It was massive. Hundreds of aliens sat in a circular arrangement. At the center, the 12 main counselors waited. "Captain Morrison," Vrex began, "you stand before the Coalition Council. Speak." Jake took a breath. "Counselors, representatives of the Coalition, I won't pretend to understand all your laws and customs. We're new to this. We're strangers in a galaxy that's been at peace for thousands of years, and we showed up in a ship that breaks your most important law. I can't change that, but I can explain why." He paused, collecting his thoughts. 200 years ago, humans left Earth for the first time. We explored our solar system and found nothing. We built faster ships and went to nearby stars. Still nothing. We pushed further. Dead worlds, ruins, cities that had been empty for millions of years. We found evidence of dozens of civilizations. All gone, all silent. The council chamber was quiet, listening. "We didn't know what killed them," Jake continued. "We didn't know if it was still out there, so we prepared. We built bigger ships, stronger weapons, better shields. The Goliath was supposed to protect us from the unknown. We never imagined the unknown would be people like you. People who would look at our ship and see their worst nightmare." "That doesn't excuse the threat you pose," one counselor called out. "You're right," Jake agreed. "It doesn't. Which is why I'm here to make you an offer. Humanity will not build another Titan-class ship. The Goliath will remain the only one of its kind until a treaty can be established between Earth and the Coalition. We'll submit to inspections. We'll share our technology. We'll prove we're not the enemy you fear." "And what do you want in return?" Vrex asked. "A chance," Jake said simply. "A chance to join your coalition, to learn from you, to share what we know, to be part of something bigger than ourselves. We don't want to conquer. We want to belong." The bird-like counselor spoke up. "But you'll keep that ship. The Goliath remains operational, armed, and dangerous." "Yes," Jake admitted, "because my government won't leave us defenseless. Not yet. Not until trust is built. But I give you my word. The Goliath will be used only for defense and exploration, never for aggression." "The word of one captain," another counselor said dismissively. "What about the rest of humanity? What about your leaders?" Before Jake could answer, a new image appeared on screen. Admiral Stone had connected to the transmission from Earth. Behind him stood President Catherine Ross, leader of the United Earth government. "This is President Ross," she said, her voice carrying authority. "I speak for humanity. Captain Morrison's words reflect our official position. We seek peace. We seek membership in your coalition, and we're willing to prove ourselves worthy of that trust." "By keeping your warship?" Vrex challenged. "By showing restraint with it," President Ross countered. "Counselor Vrex, Captain Morrison had the power to destroy your fleet. He didn't. He had the power to ignore your demands. He didn't. He could have turned back and reported that the galaxy was hostile. Instead, he stayed and asked to talk. Doesn't that demonstrate our intentions better than any words?" The council chamber erupted in discussion. Aliens argued in dozens of languages. The translator struggled to keep up. Finally, Vrex called for order. "We will deliberate," he announced. "Captain Morrison, please stand by." The holographic link went to standby mode. Jake found himself back on his bridge, surrounded by his crew. They all looked at him with hope and worry. "You did good, sir," Lisa said quietly. "We'll see," Jake replied. An hour passed, then two. The crew waited in tense silence. Finally, Amy spoke up. "Incoming transmission. It's the council." "Put it through." Vrex appeared on screen, along with the other 11 main counselors. The silver-skinned alien looked tired but calm. "Captain Morrison, President Ross, we have reached a decision. It was not unanimous, but after much debate, the Council has agreed to the following terms." Jake held his breath. "First, Earth is granted provisional membership in the Coalition. You will have representatives at our meetings, but no voting rights for 5 standard years. During this time, you will prove yourselves." "Agreed," President Ross said immediately. "Second, the Goliath will be allowed to remain operational, but it must be registered with coalition oversight. It will be monitored. Any hostile action will result in immediate sanctions." "Understood," Jake said. "Third, humanity will not construct any additional vessels larger than 1.5 kilometers without coalition approval. This restriction will remain in place for 10 years, after which it will be reviewed." "We accept those terms," President Ross confirmed. "Fourth," Vrex continued, "Captain Morrison and the Goliath will be assigned to a joint coalition task force. You will work alongside our vessels on exploration missions. This will allow us to observe your people and build trust." Jake smiled slightly. "That sounds perfect, Counselor." "Finally," Vrex said, and his expression softened a bit. "Commander Kethavar has volunteered to serve as liaison to your ship. He will help you understand our customs and laws. He speaks highly of you, Captain. That carries weight." "I'd be honored to have him," Jake said. "Then it is settled," Vrex declared. "Captain Morrison, you came to our space in a ship of war, but you left us with hope. You showed us that strength and peace can coexist. Perhaps humanity will teach us that lesson well. Welcome to the Coalition, Captain. Welcome to the greater galaxy." The transmission ended. The bridge erupted in cheers. Crew members hugged each other. Ben pumped his fist in the air. Lisa smiled wider than Jake had ever seen. "We did it," she said. "We actually did it." Jake looked at the view screen, showing the Valara station and the fleet of alien ships that had surrounded them with fear just hours ago. Now they were allies, partners, friends, maybe, in time. "Signal from Kethavar's ship," Amy reported, still grinning. "He's requesting permission to dock. Says he's ready to start his new assignment." "Grant permission," Jake ordered. "And Amy, send a message back to Earth. Tell them we found what we were looking for. We're not alone anymore." 2 days later, the Goliath departed from the Valara station with Kethavar and his small diplomatic staff aboard. 20 coalition ships escorted them, not as guards, but as companions. Together, the mixed fleet jumped to FTL, heading toward the next unexplored system. On the bridge, Jake watched the stars stretch and bend as they traveled faster than light. Kethavar stood beside him, still getting used to human ship design. "Your people built something remarkable," the Valara commander said. "Not just the ship. The courage to come out here alone. The strength to show restraint when you could have shown force. That's what impressed the Council, you know. Not your weapons, but your choice not to use them." "We came looking for friends," Jake said. "We just happened to arrive in a way that scared everyone." "Most species would have fired first," Kethavar observed. "You asked questions instead. That makes you rare, Captain Morrison. In a galaxy full of cautious, careful civilizations, humanity is bold. That will either save us all or doom us. Time will tell which." "Then I guess we better make sure it's the first one," Jake replied. Helen approached from the science station, carrying a data pad. "Captain, I've been going through the star charts Kethavar provided. There are 3 systems within range that the Coalition has never explored. They're in the dead zone, near where we found those ruins." "What do you think we'll find?" Jake asked. Helen shrugged. "Maybe more ruins, maybe answers about what happened to all those civilizations. Maybe nothing. But isn't that why we built this ship? To find out?" Jake smiled and turned to the helmsman. "Set course for the first system. Let's show our new friends what humanity does best." "And what's that, sir?" the helmsman asked. "We explore, we learn, we push forward into the unknown, and we do it together." The Goliath, humanity's first and only Titan-class warship, jumped to FTL once again. But this time, it wasn't alone. Behind it flew ships from a dozen different species, united by curiosity and a fragile new trust. Humanity had come to the galaxy in a vessel of war, but they would stay as explorers, diplomats, and friends. The journey was just beginning, and the whole galaxy was watching to see what these bold, reckless, hopeful humans would do next. In the end, the Goliath became a symbol, not of fear, but of possibility. A reminder that even the most intimidating power could be used for peace. That strength without wisdom was meaningless, but strength with restraint could change everything. The galaxy would never be the same. And humanity, after 200 years of lonely wandering, had finally found its place among the stars.